G'day, Stu from UAVfutures here, and today, well, we're actually going to be doing a part 2 review of the Diatone Crusader GT2. Now in part 1 what we did, and I'll leave a little link for that up here somewhere, in part 1 what we did, we broke it down and we looked at what it came with, all its components, and sort of stacked it up, and I've got to say it looked very, very impressive, but we were sort of holding out on the final verdict until we got some flight footage, until we could sort of test it out, and now I've tested it out and it is an absolute beast. I'm just going to roll this 2-second clip and look at this acceleration. So check this out. And you've got to admit that that is scary fast. So that thing is an absolute weapon in the air. Now, while I've got it here, what I do want to speak about before we jump down, and because this is all going to be about the flight footage, one of the things I do want to talk about before we jump down to the field is I actually had some issues with the first one of these I had. So I had to actually get a replacement part, because in here, we set it up, it had an awesome VTX, and you can check all this out in the review. The link for the review should be up here somewhere. But in the part 1 of the review, we looked at all the VTX and everything that came with it, but when I finally got it out to the field, it just decided to stop working. And I know there is an option to put it into like pit mode so you can do some work on it and stuff, but no matter what I did, no matter what buttons or what configuration I sort of used, I wasn't getting sort of any video signal out of the quad. So that was a little bit disappointing actually, because I was so amped and so pumped to get this thing out and fly it around. And since I sort of contacted them and was like, hey, what's going on? So I was sent this one actually as a bit of a replacement. And something that's really cool, when I opened this one up, it was like new in the packaging and stuff like that. But it was actually updated to version 3.01 on Betaflight. So between the time that I reviewed my last one and the time of reviewing this one, they've actually updated the firmware in them as well, which is really, really cool to see. Anyway, so what we're going to be doing, we're going to be jumping down to the field, and then let's see this thing flying around. And I'm going to give some flight commentary, because I've never had a flying experience like this. It is absolutely amazing. Anyway, let's cut down to the field in 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, so I'm down here, we've got the GT2, and I know you guys are pumped to see this flight footage, and I guess just take it for a test spin, and so am I. So I've got this little course set up here, so we'll stick it up, give it a whirl, and see how she goes. Now, probably worth noting, I do have some Dal Cyclone props on here as well, but they seem like an awesome prop so far, so it's probably a good combination. But this thing, the Diatone, the Crusader, the GT2 is just next level. I've never felt so locked in when I'm actually flying around. Like I know the saying, and people say that all the time, like it feels really locked in, and this is the first time I think maybe you don't realize what you're missing out until you fly a quad, where it really felt like, the best way I was trying to describe this to my mate Pezzy D when I was flying around, it was almost like there was a magnet in front of the quad that was pulling it round the course, making it sort of just like it was steering it exactly where it wanted to go. It was absolutely phenomenal, and I've never found myself going so fast around a course like these. I don't know how long these laps are going for, but this was a fairly big course, and this thing was just chewing down the meters and eating up the seconds. It was a very, very fast quad. Now, sometimes when I was going a little bit quick, and that would really happen on this sort of back straight here, and I'd sort of be getting in my own head and thinking, how am I going to handle this corner right here? But that gate, like, it just, you know, I'm sure my skills aren't that good, or they haven't jumped up that much in 1 week to be able to hit that gate just like that, and I'm sure that all comes down to this quad. So it really made me feel like really confident in the air, and it felt really magical to fly. I know I keep raving on about it, but I mean, look at this flight footage. For anybody who's watched like my videos for the longest of time, you would be able to see this is by far the most fastest and most consistent laps that I've ever had, and the most in control as well. Like at no time does it really look like it's sketchy or out of control. The GT2 was an absolute pleasure to fly. Now, I thought it was going to chew down my batteries because it was going so quick, but because it's so light, I was actually really surprised. Like on those crazy punch outs when, like you saw at the start of that video, when you just like have insane acceleration, that is probably going to really stress your battery. But other than that, I found I didn't really notice too much difference between this and say flying the Helix or anything like that, but this just felt a bit quicker. So other than that, I'm quite happy. There's a little clip at the gate, but other than that, I was really happy with sort of the speed that this affected your batteries, because it didn't seem like it was pulling any extra currents whatsoever. Now I did get one little bit of desync on the next lap that comes up just here, and I'm not 100% sure what that was from. It might be from when I hit the gate, so towards the end of this this little flag section, right? I missed a flag there too, but right here you'll see a clipper gate. I go up into the sky sort of because I didn't want to run into the chimney because you're going so fast, so I was going to do a flip, and then I don't know what happened there, so that was a little bit interesting, and my camera decided to cut out then, so I'm not really sure what was going on. Now, speaking of the camera, you've got to remember this thing is this quick. Like, look at that. That almost looks like you are fast forwarding the footage. And this is all just totally normal speed. I don't speed up my flight footage or anything like that. But look how quick that is. If you really drop the hammer, it is absolutely insane. And something I really want to point out too is with carrying a GoPro around, or this isn't a GoPro, this is like a cheaper Yomi G action camera. But with this, that's with carrying all that extra weight, it's still able to fly really, really well. And I think that's something that the GT2 really has going for it. It is how compact everything is. Like, and I know the X1 and the other pods, they're sort of, they are compact, but this thing is like absolute, this is like pod size, in terms of the X style, but shrunk down and compressed to like an absolutely tiny little value. I think this flight here is actually my very first maiden flight with it, so this is when I was still getting used to it, and you can definitely see something I was a little bit actually upset about. I did one more after this, but I forgot to hit record, and that one, it felt like where the laps were on fire. I really felt like I have never flown so good flying this thing in my life. This thing was like a whole next level for me, so I'm probably, if I went to a race tomorrow, this is the quad that I would be taking. So there it is, there's my part 2 review of the Diatone Crusader GT2, and I think that flight footage speaks for itself. It is an absolutely beautiful quad to fly, and its performance is staggering, like jaw-dropping. So what I really wish is I had got my mate to fly it so I could have seen a line of sight, because I know that the amount of ground this thing covers is going to make anybody open their mouth in surprise. They're going to be absolutely shocked when they can see just how fast these little bad boys can go. Now, it was a little bit concerning with the VTX in here and how I had to sort of get a replacement, because when I took it out to the field and it stopped working, I was really bummed. And you know, that was, I don't know if it was just that one I got or a bit of a reviewer's curse or something like that, but this one's been great and I've had no issues so far with that one. But that was just something that I think was an important little feedback for people to have. But this one has been rock solid so far, so a very, very cool little quad. This quad actually makes me really happy for the, I guess, happy and sad at the same time, because it makes me feel like, am I going to be building, like this time from 1 year from now, if quads are coming this good out of the box, am I going to be really building my own, or am I just going to be picking up different weapons, sort of like when you're going to buy a car or a race car, maybe just sort of saying, yep, that's the one that I'm going to be racing today, because I think I'm still a bit in shock in just how well this thing performed. Anyway, hopefully you guys like that. Definitely go back and watch this flight footage, because especially that acceleration part, because it's absolutely insane. And if you're sort of wanting a quad and you want to sort of pull it out of the box, you want something that is going to just tear the opposition's face off if you've got the skills, and make it very, very easy during the process, this is definitely the quad for you. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to be asking me is, what's better out of the Shuriken X1 and the Diatone Crusader GT2. So what I'm going to do, I think, in a sort of follow-up video I've got planned over the sort of holiday season, I'm going to take them out, put them through some rigorous tests, and sort of see how they go. Maybe we'll do some acceleration tests, turning tests, whole bunch of things to find out out of those two, because I had a lot of questions about it, a lot of comments. What is the better ready to fly? But so far, I'm sort of feeling like I'm going to be leaning towards this one just after today's experience. It is absolutely insane. Anyway, I'm rambling. Subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying! Alrighty, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel and check out these videos. And I'm also going to leave a little link here to my Patreon page because I've got some fantastic Patreon supporters and I like to give back to them as well. So if you want to join the UAVfutures family, there's things like bonus Velcro straps, little bundles of FPV goodies and things like that that also get sent out. Anyway, happy flying.